Oh, look at you, George. All set up with whiskey and everything. I'm just going to hide this here.
I don't think you're overly surprised by that. Hello.
No. You good?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Have you come straight off the course?
I have, yep.
Thank you very much.
Oh, look at you. Thank you. Oh,
Comfy.
I'm very comfy. This is good. It's pretty. You've done well.
Pretty light. We just found this room last minute. It's worked out very well. Neck a full one. Oh, there's that red bottle there for you as well.
Yeah. I don't want to neck too much because I don't really want to go piss halfway through the interview.
Well, you can.
That'll look good. Yeah, I'm going to piss my pants. I need to go.
Well, that would go viral.
Yeah. Would it be better or worse than the hot dog incident at Dunhill?
Oh, what was when you were scoffing it on course?
Yeah, and I spilt it on myself. And
Yeah, I thought that was quite good though. It was very foxy.
yeah. Best part about it is Keno sold it to Levelwear, the clothing company, going, well, look, if he's one of your players, his shirt's going to be untucked and most likely he's going to spill food on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you do.
Huh? Mustard.
Mustard.
Probably ketchup too, to be honest, but mustard was the main culprit.
Well, if you can't play golf and have a snack, you know, what are we doing? Right, what are we doing? Ryan Fox, New Zealand golfer.
No.
What?
I should be worried, but I'm not.
No, you're not. Honestly, you're all good. Did you get through 18?
Just played 7 holes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Perfect. Right, how's everyone going? I think I'm ready to rock and roll.
And between the 5 of us, we lost 70 golf balls. I'm really tired. I just want to go to sleep. Yost Loughton, he's lying on the roof, holding both sides, coming down the fairway. I'm like, this is brilliant.
Rory, if you're listening, hard luck.
Yeah, I didn't mind taking that scalp, to be honest. He's barely been able to stand up on the first tee, and he's just having the round of his life.
Ryan Fox, firstly, welcome to the Life on Tour podcast, courtesy of Buffalo Trace. How are you?
I'm good, George. It's good to be here.
Now, a lot of people tuning in will hear two horrific Kiwi accents, not a lot of vowels,
Yep.
but I can assure everyone at home we're going to do our best not to go too Kiwiana on it.
Yeah.
Which is hard, but it is great. To be honest, we've known each other for a very long time. I feel like I've kind of followed your career since I started working at Golf New Zealand, and as you've risen through to where you are now, so it's quite cool to, I guess this is probably the first time we've sat and had a proper long form sit-down interview. So
Definitely. You probably would have given me one of my first ever interviews as part of the media training for New Zealand Golf,
yeah,
I reckon.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
When was it? Well, that was 2015?
Yeah.
Probably before that?
Yeah, just after the just around that World Cup time.
Yeah.
When
Okay, I just turned pro then.
And then, I guess like when I was like working there and when I was new to the job, it's like, oh, Foxy's won on the Challenge Tour, and that was like quite a big deal for me. And I was like, this is awesome. And then now look where you are. It's great.
Look where you are.
Stop it. I'm just following you. You know, super fan. But Foxy, first and foremost, welcome to 2025 here in Dubai. You must be pretty excited to reset the button, be here for a big fresh year of golf.
Yeah. I've had 10 weeks off before getting here,
Nice.
which is very nice. Back home in New Zealand, which I haven't done probably since COVID.
Yeah.
And most of that time through COVID, I probably spent in a hotel room, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. I had a little bit of an injury last year. Got that sorted while I was at home. Spent plenty of time with friends and family, and actually played quite a bit of golf in December as well before Christmas. Had a couple of events down at home, and had a little bit of a break again after Christmas, and then was ready to go. Early January, and for the first time in I don't know how long, I actually felt like I could prepare for the start of a season, not kind of go, I need some time off, and then kind of get to early January and go, I got a tournament next week. I better find a golf game. So
Yeah,
it's been a nice change this year in that respect, and hopefully that translates into some good golf.
Yeah, you mentioned your body and the injury. Like, how are you feeling? You're looking fit. You're looking healthy.
Yeah, I basically got told I need to do some stuff, or I'm looking down the barrel of surgery, and it's amazing what happens when someone points a gun to your head. You can actually do some stuff that people have been telling me to do for quite a few years now, and I just kind of ignored it probably. And last year was very frustrating on that level. The injury wasn't really pain. I tore the labrum in my right hip, and it just didn't really work properly. I lost a bit of speed. I was fighting a big right ball. Everything felt uncomfortable, but nothing really hurt. And when you assume injuries kind of pain, right? And got home in August after the FedEx Cup, well, after the Olympics actually, and my coach at home, Marcus, is like, what's going on? I'm like, look, the hip's not been great. He's like, just go get a scan. Yeah. And I got a scan, and it was a pretty decent tear in the labrum, and gone, oh yeah, that probably explains a lot. And got a cortisone injection at the back end of the last year to finish the year, which helped me keep my PGA Tour card, and just basically got told when I got home, well, you potentially are staring down the barrel of surgery. Either get yourself sorted, do the work, or you might not ever get to the level you're at. So that was probably the kick in the butt I needed for the fitness side of things, and feeling good about that, and trying to stay on top of it on tour, which I've always struggled with. And it's been a good start to the year in that regard, and hope to go on.
Nice, very happy to hear that. And look, I mentioned we won't promote or go into New Zealand too much, but one thing we can't resist is the fact that New Zealand is a beautiful, beautiful place to play golf. And you mentioned you've played a hell of a lot of it. And we had a little visitor come join you at Tara Iti not long ago, none other than a little Mr. McIlroy. Yeah. And, he was quite disgusted to hear me sledge him today about losing to Ryan Fox.
I didn't mind taking that scalp, to be honest.
He bit back pretty quick, actually. Yeah. Which was great to see. So, Rory, if you're listening, hard luck. You can't respond here on this podcast. But firstly, golf in New Zealand, that part of the world, if Rory comes over to play it, and he said to me it could quite comfortably be the best country he's ever been to. How cool is it to hear that? And how cool is it to have Rory in the backyard and give him a tonguing up as well? Yeah,
I've talked to him about coming down for a while. He sort of brought it up with me a couple of years ago, and Tara Iti is the one that he'd heard about, and most people have heard of Tara Iti, and it's starting to get a really, really good reputation around the world.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
He's like, I want to come down. I've been lucky enough to play it a lot, and said, mate, you got to get down there at some point. And it was when he said to me, earlier last year, we're coming down, playing for 4 days. I'm like, mate, that's awesome. Like, hope you have a good time. And I got a text from one of the guys up there, said, hey, organising a game with Rory, are you keen? I mean, no one's ever going to say no to that, are they? So dates worked out, the weather worked out, and me and Jim Rawstaff, who's sort of the guy in charge of Tara Iti, runs the development at Tiari Links, which I'm attached to. We played against Rory and Jimmy Dunn. Apparently they don't lose too often, so I was quite happy to take that scalp. And we had a lot of fun. It's nice to play with them socially in that regard, rather than even if you play a practice round with them at a tournament, it's always busy and people around, and
you're dialed in.
And it was just a nice social round of golf, and he loved New Zealand. I saw him earlier this week and said, mate, how was the rest of your trip? And he absolutely loved it. Was beaming about the golf. They went up to the Bay of Islands for a winery tour, had lunch and stuff like that. Said it was amazing, and
brilliant.
I think he's pretty keen to go back. And I know, when I was home while he was there, and to have like the buzz around him coming down, not just when he was there, but like November when I first got home.
Well, even at Royal Auckland and stuff, everyone's like, heard Rory's in town.
Yeah, like the rumours going around, he's in town a month before he got there, and the New Zealand golf public was all over it. And I think Tara Iti was the busiest it's ever been when there was the dates that he was playing, just people wanting a glimpse of him. But the cool thing was, he just went out with his mates and played. No one was following them around, no one was bothering them too much. And New Zealand's always pretty good for like that, where we've sort of got the look, don't touch mentality to an extent. Like,
Well, there's kind of like no such thing as celebrities in New Zealand, right? Like they're all just average Joe blogs popping down to a cafe.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, he said he was in the international airport and people were he could hear, oh, it's Rory, but no one bothered him for an autograph and that's pretty cool. There's probably not too many other places in the world he can go where it's like that, and hopefully he comes back down, can take his family down, because there's lots of cool stuff to do with young kids down there as well.
Is there any money on the line?
No, just pride. But as I said, it's a pretty good scalp to take. I'm not gonna complain at that one. I had plenty of people ask it. I think it made it in the media in New Zealand pretty quickly, and I was worried that I was the one that leaked it, because I told a few people that I had a win, and thankfully my name wasn't on the article. So yeah, it's good.
You're like Spike from Notting Hill at the pub telling his mates.
Yeah, most of my mates knew I was playing with them anyway. So I had plenty of calls saying, "Come on, what did you shoot? What did he shoot? What
were the numbers? 3.
Yeah, I think I shot.
You were 4.
I shot 4 or 5, and he shot 3.
Yeah.
I sort of birdied the last 3 to make it look a little better for me than it probably.
Only 3 under, pathetic. Who is this guy?
He's playing social golf.
Yeah. No, that's great. And I guess one thing as well, when you were at home, I don't want to get everyone too excited about your season this year, but rumours are you made a hole-in-one and then a 63 on your last day of golf before coming here.
Yeah, it's
not bad.
Yeah, I played 36 holes on the Thursday before I left on Friday, and had a hole-in-one from 10 metres with a 5-iron, and went out in the afternoon with some mates and shot 63 with 10 birdies. So the golf game started to feel pretty good the last few days. I mean, social golf's very different than tournament golf in that respect, but we'd had not a very nice summer for golf, to be honest. We had dry weather, but we had really windy weather, and it was pretty frustrating going out and feeling like you're getting beaten up most days. And the last couple of days before I left, we actually had some decent weather, so it was nice to finally put a low one on the board. Actually, to be fair, the best part about it was my mates, between 5 of them, they've played golf for 20 years each at least, and not had one between them, and I just rolled out and had one, and they just hate me for it, and I quite enjoy winding them up.
Well, the rumours are, you don't like the wind, from what I'm hearing. A trip to Tasmania, for example. A social trip with the lads all the way to Tasmania, and you've walked off the course because of the wind. What's going on here?
Mate,
you've played a lot of links golf.
They probably embellished that a little bit more. So yeah, we did. I think it was 2019, and we did Barnbougle, the 2 courses there. We did Cape Wickham, Ocean Dunes on King Island, and a mate of mine had done it beforehand and said, "It's amazing, you guys will love it, we got to do it again." So we went on a boys trip, played, 5 of us went and played. It was a week before the Aussie Open, I think it was at the Australian, and we had a great day flying over, like perfect. Couple of the guys are scared of small planes, so there's a couple of, I think it's like an 8-seater plane going so going over it was perfect. And we played Cape Wickham the first day, played 36 holes. So got there one evening, played, I stayed there and then played 36 holes the next day. And Wickham's rated really highly in Australia. And in the morning it was probably like a 2 or a 3 club wind. In the afternoon it was like a 5 or a 6 club wind. And we had, obviously I was a professional. We had 4 guys playing off single figures.
Right.
But they all played off the backs with me, which wasn't very smart. And between the 5 of us, we lost 70 golf balls.
70?
70.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. To be fair, you don't go looking for them because there's a lot of snakes around there.
Yeah.
One of the boys got a bad case of the shanks. He started the range session that morning with, I think he had 15 shanks in a row, which is a great way to start a golf trip. Hit a couple of shanks through a cut window on the golf course. It was bad. Okay. So yeah, we had that was the start. That was the first day, and we go play Ocean Dunes, and 50 mile an hour winds the next day. I think I shot even par. That was the only day I played any good. And then we had about an hour flight to Barnbougle, and we have this young pilot, and as I said, a couple of guys are pretty.
And as soon as you rock onto a plane and the pilot's a little bit young, your adrenaline just lifts.
Yeah. So twice on that flight down, it's like an hour, and so we're all plugged into his communications, right? And so we take off into 50 mile an hour wind, turn around, go straight downwind to Barnbougle, and halfway through the flight you hear him go and we're like, what, Yeah, everyone's kind of freaking out a little bit. He goes, "Oh, this is the fastest I've been in this plane." He goes, "We're doing 415 knots, which means we've probably got like 150 mile an hour behind us." We're like, "Oh dear." And then we come into Barnbougle and there's that like marine layer of cloud down there. He does the same thing. We come through the clouds because it's all visual landing, right? There's no GPS landing or anything. He does the same thing. Comes through the clouds, goes, "Oh, this comes out a bit lower than I thought we were going to." We, like
just casual as you like,
a few hundred feet above the ocean, and yeah, that was. It
was enough for you.
It was I'm all right on the planes, but yeah, that wasn't a lot of fun. And then we've gone out and tried to play Lost Farm and Barnbougle in the next 2 days. And the wind was even worse than that. Like it was,
and you're out.
Yeah, I couldn't get to. I think the 18th hole was like a 400-meter par 4, and I've hit driver 2-iron sandwich in there and hit all of them pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, boys, I'm due to go to the Aussie Open. Like I'm not.
Was that like? Is that bad? That could be bad for your game, right?
Yeah.
If you're playing that wind, you've got to actually almost manufacture a swing, and that can get you out of kilter, right?
So like we were due to play like 36, 18. 36, 36 basically, and do it properly. And then I was going to roll into the Aussie Open and play the Pro-Am, which I'd played the Australian a bunch, and it would have been fine. But like we'd ended up playing each of the courses once, and we're about to go out in the afternoon, and all of us are sitting in the bar at Barnbougle going, "I don't want to do this." And we kind of made a mutual decision going, this is bad. And I'm like, well, if we're not going, I'm getting on a plane. So I managed to find a flight to Sydney from Launceston and jumped in a cab basically an hour later and disappeared. I've never lived
just out of there.
They've never let me live it down. But the fact is, they didn't play that afternoon, and it was so bad the next morning they only went out and played 9 holes. Yeah. So I didn't really miss much. But I did leave a little early. But it was, I think it was beneficial for my headspace and my game going into a tournament.
Yeah, for sure. How cool is it, I guess, like, for a lot of you pro golfers, you hang out with the best in the world all the time, you're playing at the highest level week in, week out. How nice is it to have the lads back home to go play with? Like, for example, I know you boys do a twos comp throughout each year, and there's a bit of heartbreak, a bit of controversy around that hole-in-one, I hear, as well, which doesn't count as a two.
Oh yeah, don't get me started.
But like, how cool is it to have that sort of bit at home to take your mind off the day and grind as well? Yeah. And also, I want to hear about your thoughts on a hole-in-one not counting as a two.
Yeah. So like these boys have been my mates. A couple of them I went to intermediate school with. Started playing golf together when we were 13, and so there's 7 of us in a WhatsApp group. A couple of the boys I've played with at Whitford Park, which is the first club I ever joined from when we were like 12 or 13. One of the guys, Campbell Rawson, he turned pro on the Aussie Tour, won on the Aussie Tour in like 2019, I think, as well. The rest of the guys have played off single figures. A couple of boys played as low as like 2 or 3. Everyone sits,
they know what they're doing.
Everyone sits between like 6 and 10 now, 5 and 10, something like that. I had a bet with them years ago if I ever made it to Augusta, probably while I was an amateur. I'm taking you boys, and so when I made it in 23, I took all of them there to Augusta. They had a great time. It's pretty more than a great time, to be fair.
This is your chance.
Yeah, I'll dish some dirt. I'll finish that part of it first, and then I can dish some dirt. I wind them up between the 2 pros in the group have had hole-in-ones, but 5 of them collectively in like 20 years of golf each not had a hole-in-one. They can't buy that. 2 of them have had a hole-in-3, hold a second shot on a par 3 after losing. I've done that as well. But they can't buy one. So they hate the fact that I've had like 15 and have half lost count. It's a bit silly. And
oh my god.
So we've the last few years we've had a little comp. Various little comps. We've had a twos comp one year where it was, but me and Campbell had to make twos on par 4s. So
versus their par 3s.
Versus their par 3s. I made a pretty good account of myself the first year doing that. Last year we switched it up to, it was like 40-point rounds, 4 pointers on like Stableford points on a hole and twos. combined, and there was like a $50 bottle of wine on each of the 3 comps, then a $150 bottle of wine on your cumulative total. I did no good in that, playing off.
So when all these guys are looking at the stats, the TrackMan, everything, you're looking at the wine charts and
So
Stableford's.
Yeah, I had to argue. So I had to argue with them last year. So I was on the 2s. I was still had to be on par 4s, right?
Yeah.
And I couldn't count. I think they let me count 40-point rounds in a tournament if I shot like 8 under or better, which I didn't do at all last year, so that didn't really happen. I couldn't count any 4-pointers in a tournament because there's no stroke holes, but like pro-ams, I was allowed to count them. And so I made a hole-in-one on 17 of the players. Like, to be fair, there's not...
Let's make that clear as well. A hole-in-one on the 17th at the Players'
There's not
Championship.
many more iconic holes in golf to make a hole-in-one on, right? And Campbell was the one running the comp. And we had these weird little multiplier rules that were like, well, if you make it, like for them, if they make a 2 on a par 3, it's fine. But if you make a 2 on a par 4, it's like worth 3. And if you make 2 on a par 5, it's worth 5 or something like that, right? Yeah. And so I make it 1 at Sawgrass. And he's like, unlucky, it's a 1, it's not a 2, so you don't get them. I'm like, I called him some words. And
that is harsh.
Yeah, that I was like,
because in terms of a golf career, if you're like, I've made a hole-in-one on the island green.
Yeah, so I had to fight for it to count as a 2.
Wow.
I'm like,
so what's the end result?
I had $250 worth of wine to someone or various different people at the end of the year. So we've changed it up this year. So the guy that wins the overall comp then decides the comp for next year. So the boys have decided
America's Cup type stuff.
Yeah, so the boys have decided we've got a cumulative under par score for the year. So any 3-point holes you have are -1, any 4-pointers are -2, and any pick up wipes, whatever you want to call them, are +1. And so none of my tournament rounds count, but my social rounds can count. So I'm leading this year, but I've played the most golf by a long way.
Played a lot. Well, let's I guess you've completely thrown any sort of notes I've had out of order with mentioning the Masters, because I don't know about you, it's a pretty cool tournament. How special was it to be involved in the Masters, to take your mates there, and can you just sort of briefly run over your first impressions of, as a New Zealander as well, like not many have gone to the Masters, so how cool was it to have played there?
Yeah, I mean, it probably all starts for me before the actual tournament. So I was lucky enough, one of my sponsors, who's a Kiwi guy, runs Stellar Energy. He went to school with my old man, and he sort of said, when you qualify for the Masters, like a mate of mine who I know from a golf club might host us at Augusta beforehand. I'm like, lovely, that'd be great. So I qualify week after the Players in 2023. We get we're organised to go and stay at Augusta for a night and go play, and then you can play some practice rounds once you're in the Masters. So I'd organised this guy had organised to host us the first day, which is awesome. So I got to stay and play at Augusta the first time I ever saw it. And then the next day was one of my pre-organised practice rounds for the Masters. So
played it back to back.
I had to go off-site for that. But the first time I go there, so we just drive around the golf course, having a gin and tonic in a golf cart, like around the outside, looking at all the rest of the facilities. Right. Media centre, all of the cool stuff. Obviously go in the pro shop and spend far too much money on merchandise there. We end up at the back of the golf course somewhere, walk through the trees, end up on the new 13th tee box, and I'm like, can we walk down to 12 green? Like I'm
because no matter, like, you do this for a job, but no matter it's how good you are, it's still cool.
Yeah, very, very. So then that night we're having dinner in the clubhouse that night, and there's 5 pros there, and it's Rory, Scotty Scheffler, Shane, Tom Kim, and myself, being hosted by various members, right? So Scotty's being hosted by the chairman. I think Rory was like Jimmy Dunn.
Yeah.
So already I'm like, this is crazy what's going on here.
Wow.
And then so I've got a room at Augusta that night, and I reckon I stayed up to 1 o'clock in the morning just watching all the old Masters things on TV. Like, there was no way I was sleeping. Get up the next morning, and it's freezing cold. It was pretty brutal, and I've never felt like it on a golf course in my life. I'm like, I didn't think about hitting a golf shot once. I think I shot 80 and didn't make a birdie. It was like, this is I just walked around because obviously as a golfer you've seen it so much, and I've just walked around and gone, oh, this is what this shot looks like.
Yeah.
I've got to hit it, and then just hit it in the wrong place. And if you hit it in the wrong place at Augusta, it's pretty hard.
Yeah.
And then, just had an amazing experience there. Next day, go and play again. And Sir John Key, one of our previous prime ministers, who I know relatively well, is a member there. He's there in the morning. We have a fog delay, and John goes, "Oh, you playing?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm playing." He goes, "I'd love to join you." So I end up playing with John that morning. Have my first birdie at Augusta, the first hole. So I was like, "Yes, I broke the duck. I'm good."
Nice.
So that was like my first experience of it, and it was incredible. And then to go back like the Masters week, I'm glad I got that out of my system.
Yeah, because you kind of got the la land done.
So it felt like when I went to the actual tournament, I could,
brilliant.
think about playing a golf tournament. And it was...
So when you get the invite to the Masters, you get how many practice rounds?
You get, I think it's like 5.
5. So if your schedule allows it, you just go, hey, mate, keen to come play
Yeah, it's got to
Augusta?
be like all pre-organised, blah, blah, blah.
Did you use all 5?
No, I used 2.
Yeah.
So, and then played, 36 holes before the tournament, during the tournament week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll get onto my mates now because I can dish some dirt. So...
Wow, yeah. Brilliant. I'm still just like working out how to get the most out of that. But I guess if you just keep going back to the Masters, that's the main goal, isn't it? But
yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, like I've obviously made that bet that I'm taking them up, right? And one of the boys I'd had a bet with the previous year, he was the only one of the guys that hasn't shot under par, and he was the lowest handicap at the time, like 4. So we had a bet for like 2 years that if he shot under par, I'd have to be a vegetarian for a month. That anyone that knows me, that's like the biggest load of torture I could ever have. And he is terrified of heights. And if he didn't do it, he'd have to do a bungee jump, right? So for 2 years, he didn't do it. And so he had to do a bungee jump, and he's terrible at paying off bets. So I said he was one of the guys that was going to Augusta. I said, well...
You're not coming.
I was like, there's only one way you're getting your ticket to Augusta, and you have to do a bungee jump. So poor had to take a Xanax and jump off our harbour bridge in Auckland. But then I'd made another stupid bet with them saying, well, if anyone shoots under par before going to the Masters, I'll cover your flights too.
Oh, God.
So that this guy, after jumping off the harbour bridge the week before going to the Masters, shot under par, so I had to cover his flight. So he kind of got some revenge on me there.
Yeah,
so thanks, Wedger. You're
I had a feeling that was him.
Yeah, and then, so yeah, they all come to the Masters, and they're in, they all stayed together. There was 8 of them in a house. Marcus Wells, my coach from home, came up just to watch, stayed with them.
Yeah.
A couple of other boys had come up separately, stayed with them. But yeah, they had a belter of a time in that house, and we're lucky enough with Wasserman, they have a house every year for the Masters, and as players and family, you can kind of go and go to the house and have dinner and stuff. There's a chef there, and so Ian, who's sitting over there, had kindly said one night, look, you can bring the boys. They're all good. They'll
let them go
one night, and then the house ended up being ridiculously massive, and they wanted to fill it. So they
charm their way in.
They did basically charm their way in, and ended up going like 3 or 4 nights in a row.
Brilliant.
So like there was a bowling alley in this house, and like one of the nights they're playing bowling, and one of the guys had a single pin left, and Victor Hovland pokes his head round the corner as one of the guys is bowling it. He hits his spare, and Hovey's like, nice, mate. And so, like, this guy was chuffed for days because Hovey had seen him hit a spare. I got photos of them sitting with Daly, having yarns with Daly on a couch in there, like every night. They probably left at 1 o'clock in the morning. Got told on the last night.
And you're sitting there trying to be professional, and you're just hearing
I ended up, the last night, I didn't even go. I had pneumonia. So I was in bed at like 7 o'clock, and they've just decided to go to the Wasserman house by themselves.
Fair.
Got told they drank the whole place out of red wine.
Okay.
I've got photos on my phone from the next morning of one of the guys eating a bowl of, this is Wadger again, eating a bowl of cereal at 1 o'clock in the morning from the house that no one knows where he got it from. And then he passed out in the couch in the house.
And Victor Hovland's popped around again.
I'm like, what are you guys doing? I actually felt like I had to go and apologise to the head of Wasserman. Bud, look, thank you very much for having my boys, but I'm really sorry they were.
So, if I jump out of a plane? Do I get an invite to the Masters?
Well, I don't have an invite to the Masters, but
Yeah, good point. You need to get yourself there first, eh?
yeah,
We'll get into that
Yeah.
at some
you
point.
should have done your research there.
Well, no, I have. At some point, we'll start talking about golf. But speaking of the Masters, and just to wrap that up before we just start talking about how to get there, is what was the one coolest thing, just top of your head, of like what you remember from that? Like what is
The first one, the one that I have stuck in my head is, I mean, I said I felt like absolute on Saturday and Sunday. If it was any other tournament, I'm not sure I would have finished, but you don't pull out of your first Masters ever. And on 16, that cool pin on the left on Sunday, that back left pin, I've got up and hit the shot up the bank and it's rolled round. I think it rolled round to there, and you get the full. I didn't know if it had gone in or not. It was that loud, and that's my lasting memory of the first one. That was just nice. The shot you see on TV so much, and to actually be able to hit it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I guess to skip a few chapters in your story, like the Masters and playing there, and not long ago you were in a really good position. So I was going to come back to this, but I think we might as well do it while we're on a Masters heater. But trying to win a major as a New Zealander, only 2 people have done it before. It's such an important thing, and for you in your career, you've had multiple wins on tour now, and obviously a major is something we need to tick off. That's what we want for you, and it's what obviously one of your biggest goals. It'd be hard not to mention when you got to hole 54, 53.
53, yeah.
53.
I'm trying to forget this one, George.
Well, I know, but we can't sit here and celebrate all the good times without, I guess, visiting some of the tough times, because you were so hot in contention after the first couple of rounds, and then by hole 53, you're sitting here going, okay, fish on. And for those at home that might not know, your approach shot, your ball went in the hole and pretty much came out.
Oh, it came out. It came out with speed.
No, not pretty much. It came out at speed, spun back, threw it into a bunker, and the ball collected a lot of sand on it, and then ended up with
7. 17th hole on the third round. I'm probably running 8th or something at that point. I was under par, and it was obviously pretty hard last year. Hit a good drive down 17, had a good number in with lob wedge, hit lob wedge all over it, and then you hear this nasty little front left pin, and you hear the rattle, and the rattle's never a good thing, right, in golf. The flag generally doesn't help you much.
Yeah.
And all I've seen is this thing just career off the green into the front of the bunker, and so I'm like, oh, that sucks. I got a lie. I hit it to the back edge of the green, had a pretty nasty putt, and I think I was a little bit rattled, and I hit it just missed the wrong side of the slope, ended up 20 feet away, which is pretty easy to do at Augusta. Had a pretty putt from there, and ended up 4-putting for triple, and sort of walked off the green and shell shock and kind of bogeyed the last, and I finished 30th, 30 something, whatever for the tournament. But I'd walked off that. Went to physio straight after the round, and one of the physios who was walking with the group in front of us, he said, yeah, it actually went in. He said it literally hit the bottom of the hole and came back out. And I'm like, oh, you didn't need to tell me that.
Yeah, please don't.
If it doesn't hit that flag there, it could have stayed in for the same price, but it could have, worst case, I'm probably looking at a 10-footer for birdie, and end up making 7. Who knows how Sunday looks in that regard, but I didn't play well on Sunday in any respect, but it was a weird scenario that, and it kind of shows sometimes just one hole can kind of
because it's so easy
stuff with your head.
It's so easy to look back. Your 4 wins on the tour, DP World Tour, a couple on Challenge Tour, but arguably those moments are probably ones that you remember a lot, don't want to remember a lot, but those ones are the ones that stick with you, right?
That was and it's one of those things you kind of look at and go, well, I didn't really do that much wrong.
No, well, you did it. If your ball's gone in the hole, you've hit a pretty
I've
shot.
hit the shot I've hit bad is the putt. First putt, I was kind of a bit shell shocked and hit it a bit hard, and you do that at Augusta, it's never pretty. But it's golf can be cruel sometimes. Like I remember Steve Williams telling it to me. I know Steve pretty well. He's caddied for me a few times and said you need some luck to win a golf tournament.
Yeah.
Like the amount of times you hit a shot and it carries a bunker by a foot and rolls down close. Like on your weeks that it's not your week, they plug in the face of the bunker and you make 5 instead of 3 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, that was probably one of the weeks my luck really wasn't in, and it's a shame it happened. Hopefully I get myself back there, and I'd love to contend at a major. I feel like if I play to the level I can compete with the guys, but it's easy. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of good players out there, and majors are a different beast altogether.
Yeah, because I guess for you in your career, like you're currently the best male golfer. Lydia's obviously flying the flag as well as you for New Zealand, which is epic. Dame Lydia Ko now.
Yeah, Dame Lydia Ko, which is very cool.
It's like, what would it mean for you to get a major, to maybe get 2 and be like, what would it take for you to become New Zealand's greatest ever golfer? Do you think you can do that? Do you think?
Well, I'd need 2. Obviously we've got Michael Campbell and Sir Bob Charles.
Yeah. Is that like a thing for you?
I would say that was definitely a goal.
A pipeline dream.
To be New Zealand's greatest ever golfer. I've probably got to get a New Zealand Open in there somewhere as well. That would be quite nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice little touch.
But I can also look at it kind of the other way and go, well, if you'd have given me the career I've had right now when I first turned pro, was playing amateur golf for New Zealand, I would have absolutely jumped at it. So, I still want to achieve some more things, but I can certainly, regardless of where the next 5-10 years go, I can still look back on my career and be incredibly proud of what I've achieved.
Yeah, because I guess from not only a New Zealand perspective, but we're like very relaxed country, and like you're living a seriously cool life. Like, albeit you go through a lot of tough times, a lot of hurdles and stuff, but I guess we just need to go fishing. We just need to have a nice little backyard for the kids. Like, it's pretty simple stuff, isn't it? So, like, you are having a great time, albeit there's hurdles to jump. Yeah.
Like, it can be a tough lifestyle, but it's not tough in, you're on the breadline or anything like that. The travel, the pressure of trying to compete week in, week out, that can be tough, but I also choose to do that.
Yeah.
Right. And, say last year was really tough, traveling with young kids around the States, everything new, not quite knowing how it all worked over there.
Yeah.
Made everything really, really hard. And that, if stuff's hard off the golf course, it's hard to compete on the golf course.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
I do live a pretty cool life. Like, I'm living the life that I
wanted.
I wouldn't say dreamed of when I was a kid, because I probably wanted to be a rugby player or a cricketer. Well, cricketer first, but from when I was like 18, when I got the proper tournament golf bug, this is all I wanted to do. So I've got to do it, and I've got to do it for a pretty long time now. So I can look back on everything I've achieved and be really proud of that.
Nice.
And I still enjoy what I do. I don't enjoy the travel so much as I can't believe in this day and age that some people can't work out how airports work. Like, I get really frustrated with that kind of stuff. Like, all the little things. Like, I can't kind of turn into my old man like that. Like, get really frustrated with...
And how others in front of you don't take their laptops out early.
Yeah, all of that kind of stuff really... Like, that didn't used to bother me, and that stuff really pisses me off now. Like... And, sometimes, like, the grind of practice at times doesn't do it for me as much. I still love playing. I still love competing. I love going back and play social golf.
Man.
I've been doing it for, at a decent level for near on 20 years. I haven't been a professional for that long, but I started playing tournament golf when I was 18 and practicing hard. Like, that's 20 years, and you don't the same thing for 20 years. It's, sometimes finding the motivation can be quite hard.
Yeah. And I like that you mentioned how tough it was last year on the PGA Tour with travel, family and stuff. But what's exciting about this year is that you're now moving to Florida, right? So you're setting up camp. Like, how different and how excited are you for this year, knowing what you know?
Yeah, definitely excited for something different in that regard. Like, I don't want to do what we did last year again. Like, I was in a suitcase for 37 weeks. We did 20 weeks with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Wow. And, my kids are great, but I wouldn't recommend anyone ever do that. Like, it's dragging...
have kids at all?
Well, no, kids are great. But, dragging... Like, the amount of that little kids need is scary. And trying to drag that everywhere week in, week out, not have a base. Like even in weeks off, you still feel like you're travelling. And we probably wouldn't have got through it without my mum and my mother-in-law coming up at 2 separate times to help us out. So,
for sure.
I'm excited for hopefully it to be a lot easier this year. Like living in the States, I'm still trying to get my head around that. I'm not sure if I ever really saw myself doing that. I love being based in London when I was over here. But it's also a kind of necessity of what we need to do. I'm looking forward to like understanding how the tour works a bit better over there, knowing the golf course is better. Like I got really comfortable over here, like this is the 8th or 9th time I've played here. You come to a golf course like this, like you know exactly what you know how you're going to play it. All you're going out there seeing is what the golf, how it's playing. Is it firmer? Is it softer? What's the rough like? Like, do they have a new tee here and there? Like, there's not a whole lot to figure out about this place. It's just trying to play it. Whereas over there, every week it was like, okay, I've got a new golf course this week. I've got a new hotel, like new city. Where am I? And I probably didn't think about that beforehand. About I was 37 with 2 young kids. Like that was quite a big change without really realizing it. Yeah,
and I guess it's that itch that you need to scratch as well. You need to go like you've had some great times on the DP, but you need to also go like. You need to test out the waters over there and see if you can do it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And like you and Paul Waring, for example, like good mates, like all of a sudden you're doing it together as well. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah. I chatted to Paul about it already. I'm chuffed that he won in Abu Dhabi last year. It's great to see, and I know I'm really well looking forward to. I've spoken to him about schedule, have plenty of dinners and stuff like that, and that's great. I think it's hard to break in over there at times. Like everyone's does their own thing. Everyone's got their own team. And not everyone's nice, but it's. I found it hard last year to make really, really good friends over there. Like I had a couple of South African boys I knew from here, Garrick Higo, Eric Van Rooyen, know Shane well enough. Like felt like I could fit in with those guys, but to actually break into some circles over there, I found quite hard because everyone goes their own way. Everyone's got their own stuff to do, and it's looking forward to having 10 more DP guys over there for this year, and hopefully we can slowly take over,
Slowly take over. Yeah. Well, what's it like? What does it take to get it done over there? Is it because you are like you can do it? You've played well over there, and like I guess we can't forget the fact that you've made 8 straight major cuts. So like you can cut your cheese over there. Like you've got it in you. Like, is it just getting used to that travel side, or like what is it going to take to actually go? You know what? Let's dance and let's do it properly. Yeah,
it's just getting comfortable over there. It took me a couple of years out here to really feel like I belonged and felt like I could compete. And while it probably shouldn't have felt that way last year, it kind of did a little bit. Like it was everything's different, everything's new. It is a bit I don't think the top end of the field's any stronger over there. Obviously, you go play a major or something like that, or some of those signature events, it is a little bit, but it's just the bottom end's a bit stronger. It's a little harder to make a cut. Some of the golf courses we play are week in, week out a little bit stronger, setup wise, especially. Like, you're always playing more like what you play this week, like firm greens, long rough. And that's kind of different than what we play week in, week out here. So it was just different grasses too, like playing Bermuda and stuff like that, which we didn't know what Bermuda was growing up in New Zealand at all. No. And I've played it a bit, but you played a lot over in the States, and it's trying to figure out that kind of stuff. There's lots of little nuances to figure out, but I got the first goal ticked off, which was to keep a card over there.
Nice.
And I had to give it a crack. Like it was a dream. Growing up, well, I say growing up, from 18 to play on the PGA Tour.
You picked up the game bloody late.
Yeah, exactly. But it was, that I always wanted to play on the PGA Tour, and I'd love, I had that opportunity a bit in 23 with world ranking, and obviously last year with a full card, and managed to keep it. And I probably didn't live up to what the dream was, if that makes sense. But I'm not sure. Sometimes, like they do, you kind of build stuff up like that to be too big, and it's in the end it was just golf tournaments, and it was still cool, but it probably wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, it's a good opportunity, and that it came at 37, and it was.
But like for me, like obviously, being a Kiwi, being in the job I'm in, I've followed you very closely. But like, hopefully people realise at home how almost steady your golfing career has been, right? So you go from the Challenge Tour where you grinded there, took you one season, and then you won you got through on the second year, and then it's just coming to me when you all of a sudden were on DP and you lost like agonisingly close a couple of events. Sorry to bring up some more bad memories. The Irish Open
Russell Knox
comes to mind. Nice guy.
Yeah, yes.
Lovely guy. But you got so close there, and that happened also. Frenchie beat you in. Who beat you in the playoff? He putted the house down. Victor Perez.
Yeah.
Like people don't remember that you've actually been so close, and you could your 4 DP World Tour wins could easily be 6, 7, right?
Yeah.
And but I guess what the point I'm getting across is your career has been a really consistent, steady incline. And you mentioned your age now, but how confident and how comfortable do you feel now that you are still climbing, that you are comfortable now?
Yeah, I believe now that my best can compete with the best in the world.
Yeah.
Okay, my best doesn't come out as much as what Rory, but he's a freak.
Yeah,
you don't need that.
You don't need that. You just need to be able to go low, right?
Yeah, and I've been very lucky with the events that I have won. Won some pretty big ones.
Yeah.
And yeah, I still believe I've got more left. Even though last year feels results-wise probably looks like a step backwards, I still felt like I went forward in a way, like keeping a PGA Tour card first year out with everything that went on, injury and the tough travel stuff at the start of the year. It was still, I think, a step forward, and hopefully I can be a lot better this year. And it's there is a big opportunity over there, getting that top 50, and you can change your life pretty quickly. And I've got a pretty good life as it is, but you could step it up again. So I've definitely got some goals going forward for that, but vice versa, I love coming back here. Coming back to DP World Tour is a lot of fun.
In particular the Middle East.
Yeah, Middle East.
Your first victory, Raz.
Yep. Oh yeah. I know where you're going with this.
Need I say any more? A big win, big celebrations. I hear. What was it like breaking through? And I heard you played a little bit of golf. What would I say? A 73rd hole, maybe.
Yeah. So we had a bit of fun that night. It wasn't a very comfortable Sunday, to be honest.
Right.
I think all I could think about, I think I had a 6-shot lead or something going into Sunday, and all you can think about is with a 6-shot lead is
imagine bottling it.
Yeah, don't it up, basically, right? That's all you're thinking.
Yeah.
And it sounds really bad, but that's pretty much was all going through my head. No one remembers.
It happens in all sport, at all levels.
But no one remembers if you win with a 6-shot lead, really. But
True.
Everyone remembers if you lose a 6-shot lead.
Yeah.
So I think I ended up having a 1-shot lead after 6 holes.
Yeah,
I missed
right.
an absolute tiddler on the 4th. And then I made a couple of birdies.
Squeaky bum time.
Yeah, it was very squeaky bum time. Made a couple of birdies on the front to steady the ship a little bit, and then hold a bomb on 12 for birdie, and birdied 13, and it kind of just settled everything down. Ended up winning by 5, so it looked a lot better than it was.
Yeah.
And so I had a couple of mates, Kiwi guys who I knew. One guy grew up in the town that I grew up in Beachlands. Another guy I went to school with, who'd driven down on the Sunday to watch and stuff. In the crowd. And so, and actually the guy that looks after Alhambra hospitality-wise is a Kiwi, Chris. He's a legend. I met him that week or the week before, and so Chris organised everything for us. And I just remember, coming in afterwards, doing the presentation and stuff, and it was a huge relief that I'd won.
Yeah.
The South African boys all sprayed me with champagne and stuff like that. It was cool. And then we went up. We had a little private lounge area, next to the bar there. And so I started drinking ciders or whatever, and we had a few people sitting there, and a couple of my mates were in there. And then Chris sort of looks at me and goes, "What do you want?" Like, I was like, "A gin and tonic. Get me a gin and tonic." He goes, "Okay." So he just apparently rolls into the bar, just walks behind the bar, grabs a full bottle of gin, looks at the barman and goes, "I'll just replace this tomorrow, eh?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's fine." Comes out, just chucks a gin on the table. Brilliant. And so we went pretty deep, as you can imagine.
Yeah. What was the trophy like? Was it drink? Can you drink?
No,
out
it was
of
like a little plate.
Right.
So no, we weren't drinking out of the trophy.
Oh, that's a shame.
And then I kind of lose my order a little bit here, but every time I walk to the bar after that, the GM of the golf club would make me do a shot. So I'm doing Zambuca shots every time I go to the bar, drinking gin every time I end up back in the room. And so at some point, Chris is like, "Can we play 18 again?" And it's like they've got lights out there, right? They've 9 holes have lights and 18's under lights. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, no. And like, if you ask for it, it'll happen. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's play 18 again. So he's disappeared for a while, and come back and he goes, "Yeah, we're all sorted." So I'm like, okay. So like, I don't know.
You've seen a few things.
It was like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, there's still quite a few people at the golf club. Like, lots of guys are flying out like early in the morning, like 3 o'clock or whatever, the weird Dubai flights. So there's heaps of people still around. We've got, like, my 2 mates who are still there have jumped in a car. Like, 10 of us go down to 18 with rental clubs. Like, I think my clubs are still in the travel bag. I've grabbed a dozen balls out of my bag. So we're all standing on the tee in the dark, and there's like water on the right and stuff. There's some houses on the left, various other things. So we're kind of waiting on the tee, and then all I remember is a golf cart of like 8 people coming down the 18th fairway.
Brilliant.
And Joost Loughton is doing the full Superman on the roof. He's lying on the roof, holding both sides, coming down the fairway. I'm like, this is brilliant. So we end up, there's like literally 15 of us on the tee, right? All using this like random rental sets from the golf club. And so we all hit balls. I think we found like 3 of the 15 tee shots.
15.
And then, like, I can barely stand up at this point. Like, I don't really know what's going on. And then somehow we're playing in like an 8-man Ambrose versus like a 7-man Ambrose.
Okay.
Playing the 18th. And then like we found one of the tee shots from each team, and then someone hits it on the green on 18. And I remember Joost holding the 70-footer across the green and the lights and just going crazy, dancing around the green and stuff. I'm like, okay, cool.
Good character.
End up going back and, having more drinks. And one of the guys was driving back to Dubai that night. He hadn't had anything to drink.
Yeah, putting that on.
So guys, at 3:30 in the morning, I'm getting picked up at like 5. And I'm going straight to quarantine in New Zealand. So this is like the back end of our COVID. I'm going straight into...
And for those that don't know quarantine, it is torture. It's 2 weeks straight in a hotel room, just you yourself, nothing else, 2 weeks straight.
Yeah, so I'm going into that. So I'm like, I don't care. I've got 2 weeks to get over a hangover at this point. Like, I'm
not
fine.
Bad. Yeah.
So I've got dropped back at the hotel at like 4 o'clock maybe.
Oh, wow.
And
quick turnaround.
So I hadn't packed my bag or anything at this point. So
naturally.
You
had a 6-shot lead, mate. You should have expected that and had everything.
Well, yeah, but I didn't think I was going to get home an hour before I had to leave. So I'm like, pretty much trying not to vomit in my golf bag, in my suitcase. Like, chatted to a couple of people on the phone that I don't remember talking to.
Nice.
Ended up walking back to the reception at like 5 o'clock in the morning, right? And Jason Scrivener is one of my best mates out here, and he was moving to Florida that day.
Oh, wow.
And so I turn up in reception at 5 o'clock as he's just about to leave and take his whole family to Florida, and he just looks at me and starts himself laughing. And he's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "I haven't been asleep." And he's like, "Yeah, fair enough." So
I just won on the DP World Tour.
Yeah. So obviously the driver turns up. I've somehow, in all of this, managed to upgrade myself to first with miles on the way home. I'm like, I deserve that. Yeah. So I've gone to the first class lounge at Dubai Airport, and I'm death walking like I'm
almost not allowed on the plane type stuff.
It pretty much could have been like that. And
but you got a first class.
So
ticket,
I'm in the first class lounge, and I'm sitting there going, I can't eat. I'm in a bad way, and I'm like, what's the only thing that's gonna, like, you just cycle through what will try to make you feel better. I didn't. Nah, I thought about trying another drink, and that idea made me feel even worse. So I think I ended up having a hot chocolate, like curled up on the couch like this in the first class lounge for like an hour, and then I get on the plane, and the hostesses are really nice and stuff like that, and
Leave me alone.
Yeah, but it was basically like that. You're like, oh, Mr. Fox, how you going? I'm like, I'm really tired. I just want to go to sleep. so as I I pretty much fall asleep as we take off, and then get up and go to the bathroom and come back, and my bed's made, and I'm just like, and I passed out for God knows how long, and then went into 2 weeks of quarantine, and we got an email on the plane saying that it had been reduced to like a week to 1 week. So I was like, oh, that's good.
That's huge play.
And I didn't leave my room for a week.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It was great.
Any better way to win on the TP World Tour? I don't think so.
Yeah. So I mean, I would have liked to have celebrated with family and friends when I got home, but we did push the boat out a little bit after that. So, that was a pretty bad hangover. That,
like, how cool, like how relieving is wins are wins like that, because you grind, you range, you miss cuts, you do everything. Like, how much of a literal weight off the shoulders is getting a win like that? Because we've seen in the last 2 seasons how many new winners we've had on tour and tears. It's like, it is amazing, isn't it?
It's massive. Like for me personally, like I'd had a really tough 2021. I had a new kid. She was born at the end of 2020. Obviously, we'd had COVID through 2020 and 2021, and like Europe was relatively normal by 2021.
Yeah. And
New Zealand was the opposite of normal. Like, we were full quarantine still. Like, it was really hard to get back in the country.
For sure.
And I know we had some, I wouldn't say fights with this tour, but like discussions with the tour going, it's hard, like really hard for us. And it's like, well, the majority of members are European, and it's easy for them. So, like, I fought pretty hard to keep my card through 2021, and then to come back early 22 and get that win at RAC, and like the job security that comes out of it, and like it's got nothing to do with money or anything like that. It's just the fact, it's like the pressure's off for a little while, and that can sometimes go both ways. Like, I know when I first went on tour, my expectations went up, and I played really bad straight after it because might
as well keep you.
Yeah, like you push yourself harder, and I didn't do the right things, but it went the other way in 22. It was like, oh yeah, okay, I can do this. The pressure's off. Like, nice. And I had a great, obviously won Dunhill at the end of 22 as well, but got pretty close, or gave Rory a run for the Order of Merit in 2022.
Yeah, you came runner-up. That's amazing to come runner-up to the bloke who's won it about 1 million times. So.
Yeah, like, 22 was just incredible, and that kind of kick-started that whole year for me. And it, I think most of that stuff, being able to contend as much as I did in 22 was because I got that job done in RAC. And I think also from the situation I was in, like the 6-shot lead, feeling pressure, and hitting all the shots I kind of needed to down the stretch to get the job done, it just made a massive difference.
That's seriously cool. And I guess, like, we've got another 5 or 10 minutes, but there's a couple of people I'd selfishly want to bring into the conversation, because you mix it with really cool circles. But we had the late great Shane Warne, for all the cricket fans out there, like a truly inspirational bloke. So I did want to just touch briefly on, obviously you won at the Dunhill, was incredible. He was your partner for a fair few years doing that. Like, how cool was it that golf brings people together, brings athletes from all different parts of the world? How special was it to have that relationship, to have, I'm sure you've got a few stories about Warnie to tell us.
You've got a couple.
But yeah, like, I don't know, like, it's cool stuff.
Golf's amazing like that, like the people you meet, like so many sports people who use golf as their escape, right? It seems it's a pretty safe sport. You can't really hurt yourself too much. It's, and it like, I know a lot of the All Blacks play it on tour now.
They certainly do.
Like the cricketers all play it. Like, it's great, and like business people as well. Dunhill's the prime example. You go sit in a room of billionaires and famous people and sports people and everything, and they all want to be you for a week. It's real bizarre.
It's quite unique, eh?
But yeah, like the Warnie one was pretty crazy for me. Like the first Dunhill I ever played was in 2015, and I got in through the Aussie Tour, and I got paired with Michael Vaughan, which, I mean, he's pretty cool guy to get paired with. And our group was Warnie. Like, so you're playing like your little four ball over the first 3 days, and so I think we had Warnie, Alan Lamb, and Surian Botham. So I've been lucky enough.
A few reads.
Like that year, the Cricket World Cup was in New Zealand and Australia. They'd all played the New Zealand Open, which is the same format as Dunhill, and I'd been paired with Sir Viv Richards, and played the first 2 days with Sir Viv Richards and Sir Ian Botham. You're like, this is pretty cool. I'd met Warnie a couple of times previous,
and a lot of people might not know that cricket was one of your favourite, if not your favourite.
So yeah, my mum's dad played cricket for New Zealand.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a cricketer growing up.
Yeah.
I bowled a little bit of leg spin. Like I loved Warnie growing up.
Nice.
So like I knew him. I'd met him a couple of times, which was pretty cool. And then when I made it on tour in 2017, kind of out of the blue, I got a text from Warnie, or like an Instagram message or whatever it was. I don't really remember. I'm like, he's like, do you want to play Dunhill together? And I remember going through my head, I'm like, why? A, why the f*** is Warnie texting me? And B, why the hell does he want to play Dunhill with me? I'm like, yeah. I'm available. So, you know, we kind of requested it, and you never quite know if you're going to get it or not. And draw comes out Tuesday night, and I'm playing with Warnie.
Oh, right.
It's a funny one. Yeah. I don't know how the process works. Don't want to know how the process works.
We don't have time for that.
But yeah, so I ended up being paired with Warnie. So we're standing on the first day at St Andrews the first day, and Warnie looks at me and he goes, Foxy, I've got a admission to make. He goes, this is my 11th Dunhill or whatever it was. He goes, my pros never made the cut, and I've never made the team cut. And I looked at him and I said, Warnie, I've jumped on the grenade here, haven't I? So yeah, we had a lot of fun that year. I think I missed the pro cut, but we made the team cut. So he was like,
chuffed,
absolutely chuffed. And then I think a couple of years, like I think I might have made the team cut the next year. We probably played like 4 or 5 of them together.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we made the amateur cut 2 or 3 times, and I made the pro cut all by that first year. So at least I upped his record a little bit.
Nice.
And the last year I played with him, which would have been 2021, so he passed away early 22, like April 22. So I'm playing in the pro side, but I've made the cut like right on the number pretty much, and we're going really well on the team side. Like I think one of the rounds he shot like 1 under for one of the 9s at Carnoustie off 10. Right, and
he's a good golfer.
Warnie legitimately was a 10 handicapper. Like it looked pretty ugly, but the competitor in him was like,
he got down way lower than that, didn't he? The New Zealand Open at one point.
He might have been cut to like 6 or 7.
Or am I thinking Ricky Ponting was like a 1 or a 2?
Ricky Ponting's like scratch. Ricky Ponting was really good. But Warnie legitimately looked like a 10 handicap. He chipped and putted it really well, and he was super competitive, right? Like if you had a putt to make, for a match or make for money or whatever, Warnie
he just wills it in the hole.
Warnie was as good as most pros, right? Like he was really good in at that level. And so we've made the team cut. We're probably running like 6th or 8th or something in the team event, and we're like last off on 10. And Warnie comes up to the tee, and you can just see he's not in a good place, and he's so Foxy. And I'm like I'd seen him at the big function the night before, and he was definitely pushing the boat out a bit. And he goes, yeah, I asked the waiter to bring me a Red Bull and vodka every 8 minutes, and he succeeded.
Every 8 minutes.
Every 8 minutes. So I don't know how many of those he'd had, but like you could tell, like he was.
I love that rule.
He was like into his 3rd durry before we teed off, kind of thing. Like he was, like he was in a bad way, and so I see a photo of them. There's a photo. You can probably still find it on Instagram. To be fair, there's a photo of they're playing cricket in the Old Course Hotel at like 4 o'clock in the morning with a tennis ball and a whiskey bottle as a bat. Oh. And it's like Warnie bowling to Michael Vaughan with Kevin Peterson keeping.
Wow.
Darren Goff's at like short cover, and a couple of others are all over the place. Like it's a pretty awesome photo.
It's a fantasy.
But you know, they were drinking until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. We're teeing off at 11. And so, Warnie's in bits. And he gets up and off the white tees, off 10 at St Andrews, he knocks it to like 45 feet. Driver, 2 putts for 3 net 2. I'm like, oh yeah, this is all right. And then he hits it on the green on 11 with a shot, makes
green to hit.
Makes 3 net 2. And then 12's a shot hole as well. He hits it down the fairway, hits it on the green, 2 putts for 4 net 3. And then he stuffs up 13.
Horrible hole.
And then I make par. And then on 14, he hits it on the green for 3 and holds a 20-footer for 4 net 3 with a shot. I'm like, oh dear, this is interesting. And then I think I birdied 15, maybe 16, and then we get up on 1, and I like hit it in the water on 1, spin it back into the water. Warnie holds like a 35-footer across the green for 3 net 2. I'm like, what is going on here? Like he's barely been able to stand up on the first tee, and he's just having the round of his life, right? And I think we're playing with Andy Sullivan and Marcus Armitage, right? So we've got a pretty good group playing. There's a bit of banter going around, and we get to like the 8th hole, and we know we've got a chance of winning the whole thing, right?
Right.
And so we get on 8, and Warnie hits like 20 feet, rolls in a 20-footer
on that par 3.
On the par 3, and then gets up on 9, drives it in the greenside bunker, splashes it out to 4 foot, rolls it in, and we're like, yeah, we're going to be close. We're going to be close.
And you just don't know.
You don't really know. And then we find out, like as we go into scoring, we find out that we're tied for winning it. But then it was based on the pro score, because I played really that we lost on countback. So I've stitched them up. But we've shot like 56 as a team on that last day. I think I had like 6 birdies and a bunch of in between. Warnie shot 2 under. We gave him a couple of like 5-footers, 6-footers for par when I'd made birdies and stuff like that. Yeah. But he beat the 3 pros in our group that day off the stick, off different tees, off 10. Yeah. And like he was absolutely buzzing about it. And then he's literally gone, sat in the van to go back up to the first tee and just gone. Yeah. Like absolutely. Like he used every bit of energy he had. Yeah. But like that's the last time I played golf with Warnie, and it was pretty cool to see that, and the fact that he'd done it absolutely hungover. Yeah,
well, that's a perfect way to go out.
Yeah,
rest in peace, the great man. Look, we don't have too much time, so I want to finish with 2 quick little, well, not too quick, but quick enough little chapters. I want one good Steve Williams story, because I know he's caddied for you a bit, and we talked about Augusta at the start. I feel like there's a little bit in me that wants to talk about another Kiwi, Steve Williams. He's obviously done some great things, and I'm just buying you time here to think of an appropriate story.
You've put me on the spot here.
Well, I love doing that.
My favourite one with Steve is I was in during COVID in 2021. Steve's caddied for me a bit. I know him really well. Yeah. Like I've gone and seen him race cars. You know, he's a really good stock car racer.
Yeah. He's a petrol head.
Yeah. And so, he's caddied for me New Zealand Open. He's caddied for me at the...
He's also caddied for Tiger Woods, eh?
Yeah. I mean, the first time Steve ever caddied for me at New Zealand Open, I remember thinking, like, he's seen the best golf pretty much anyone's ever played, and he's watching me hack the of it around Millbrook or whatever it is. Like, what? Once I got over that fact, it was fine. But the first time, I spent,
imagine if he's just like, mate, Tiger wouldn't have done that. What the hell are you up to?
He would have broken me, to be fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, my favourite one with him, and I don't want to throw him under the bus and repeat any of his stories. He's got some great ones, but my personal one with him is in 2021 during COVID. We've got a couple of Charles Tour events in New Zealand, which are 4-rounders, pro-am style tournaments, top level amateurs play.
A great national series.
Yeah.
Great.
So named after Bob Charles. It used to be Greg Turner that started them, and then Bob Charles put his name to them.
Growing the game in New Zealand.
Yeah. So we had a couple near home, and I was trying to work out when I was going away with COVID and blah blah blah. But I had played the first one at a place called Gulf Harbour and played all right and ended up winning that. I sort of get a phone call on the Friday of that event. We're playing Muriwai the next week, which is
Arguably one of your other home tracks, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
One of your
I
many.
played a fair bit there over the years, and Steve lives really close to Muriwai, about 15 minutes away. And
I shot 84 there last week, wasn't good.
that's not great.
Continue.
So I get a phone call from Steve, the week before, and he goes, "Oh, Foxy, are you playing Muriwai next week?" I'm like, yeah, I am. I'm like, he goes, "Do you want a caddy?" I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm like, just a heads up here. It's like there's no yardage book. Like it's a rangefinder only, and it's a carry bag. And he goes, "Actually, sounds pretty good to me." He goes, "I'll see you. What time are you off on Thursday? I'll let you know. When I'm off." So
Yeah, you wouldn't have even known your bloody tee time.
no. So I say I'll let you know when I get tee time on whatever
When
Tuesday
Mango
or
sorts
Wednesday
that out,
when it's coming out. So let him know, and so I turn up to the tee on Thursday in this little New Zealand event, playing with Dan Hillier and also Jimmy Hides, who was like our top amateur at the time. And so I roll up with Steve on the bag.
Brilliant.
And I'm like,
those young pups would have shit
I'm
themselves.
like a big move basically. It was like this is like it was quite funny, and like at that point, like the intimidation factor had gone with Steve. Like he's a good mate. I know him well,
Especially when you're
like,
playing at Mirror, like one of those small,
Yeah, and so we're going just going out there having a bit of fun. And I remember I actually talked to Dan about it last night, and he was like, he turns up and he goes, "What the hell is going on here?"
Yeah.
And so Dan and I had a really good battle. Actually, Dan was leading through 3 rounds. So I played all 4 rounds with Dan. I was running second through 3, and then I went a bit crazy in the last round and got him by a few. And so we get to the 18th green, and I lost the ball on 18, made double, but won by 3 or 4 or something. And so where Steve's put the flag back in, and he kind of looks at me, shook hands, blah, 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 and he looks at me, he goes, "Does that count?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Does that count for a win?" I'm like, "Well, I mean, it's 4 rounds. I guess it does." So he takes the top of the flag off, and he goes, "That's 151. He's 151 wins. At that point, I'm like, holy
So that's why you're asking it.
Yeah. So I was like, I have one of 150 odd wins with Steve Williams. So that was very cool.
He then went on to caddy for Daniel Hillier for a bit.
Yeah.
Now Daniel's on the DP World Tour.
He was very, very impressed with Dan.
Nice. Yeah. Well, hopefully Daniel will keep going and be on the podcast at some point, I'm sure, as a household name. But
Hopefully you'll have more dirt on him than me.
Plenty. I'm actually emceeing his wedding, or celebrant for his wedding.
He said that last night.
Yeah. He'll regret that.
I know.
But Foxy, just to round things off, to finish things off completely, when you sit here having a whiskey with myself and a few others here in 30 years' time, what would you be satisfied with looking back at your career? What would make you sleep really easy? To be fair, I think you sleep pretty well in general, but what would be a satisfying career for you?
There's probably a difference between like what the dream would be and what satisfying would be.
Yes.
But if I could throw,
I want that middle ground.
Yeah. So if I could throw a couple more wins in there, win on the PGA Tour somewhere, contending in a major. Obviously the dream would be winning one or more. But making a President's Cup team and winning a New Zealand Open, like you throw a few of those in there, I'd be very satisfied. As I said it to you earlier, like if you'd have given me the career I've had right now when I first turned pro, I'd be exceptionally chuffed with that. Yeah. So a decent amount of that itch is probably scratched in that regard as satisfied. But to sleep very easy. A couple more wins would be really nice, and a couple of nice big ones would be even better.
Yeah, well, I believe you can do it, mate, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this will also believe it because, I don't know, like we said it before, like I think if you can go low and you can go really low, it kind of doesn't matter if you have a couple of off weeks if you've got it in the bag. So
golf's kind of gone that way.
Yeah,
hasn't it lately?
You can chill out for a couple of months and just when you're on, you're on. So, and Foxy, you're on more often than not, inside and outside the ropes. So, mate, it's been a pleasure to sit here with you. If possible, get to know you even better. And I really do wish you the best for not only 2025, but the many years to come.
Thanks, Georgie. I enjoyed it. It's nice to see you being somewhat professional at some point.
Well, extremely professional,
Yeah.
I might add. But no, honestly, mate, you've had an awesome career, and especially PGA Tour. I hope this year settling in Florida goes really well.
Thank you.
And I think, unbiasedly, I think you can do it. So, eat 'em up, baby.
I'll try. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate. You beauty. Oh.